Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Enliven Wellness. It is Tessa Gurley, and I am here with the Pax Man, and I'm going to share a little something tonight. I've been thinking about this pretty long and hard, and I've been kind of nervous to make this video, to be honest, but I'm going to go ahead and do it tonight. I'm feeling really inspired to do so, and yes, Pax is joining us, and so if you hear chewing in the background, this is my dog chewing on rawhide. But I've been watching a couple of videos from other people talking about this kind of transition from New Age to Jesus, really. And I guess I'm just going to start documenting this journey because it's really different for me. And at the same time, it feels really good. So a little bit of background on me. I grew up in Colorado Springs, and I grew up in a household that was very much like, it was really like, okay, like Jesus and Buddha, and, everything was pretty accepted. There was no, like, I never went, to church on a regular basis, but we were still Christian. Like, we went to church when it was Christmas and Easter. I went to Sunday school for a little while, but then we kind of just fell off. So like spirituality and religion was not really a big part of my childhood. Like it just wasn't, but I was always really spiritually inclined. I had many experiences growing up that were not explainable by like regular explanations. Like I had tons of different experiences growing up that couldn't really be explained. And I never really could understand what they were, but they tended to be pretty good, pretty beautiful experiences. Things like when I would go to church, sometimes I would run into like people that would tell me things that were just really out of the blue, like God speaking to me through other people, and things that were just really profound. And I remember having really deep, profound experiences of just feeling this connection to something much greater than myself. And I did understand it because I wasn't really raised in a spiritual household, so I didn't quite understand what was going on. But I always felt just very compelled to be like part of, I felt connected to something deeper and more profound. And I didn't quite know what it was, but I always loved going to church. So I loved churches. I would, just relish the time to when I wasn't in the Sunday school to actually like go to the big people's church, and I loved how churches felt. I just remember one time I went to France, and like I was like just constantly every day like seeking out another church to go to, and like I loved the feeling of churches. I loved being on the church grounds. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Anyway, I then started to get like into more things like, a little bit more like Eastern religion, and thank you, Ethan. And I put that user in timeout. So I got like more into like Eastern philosophy when I was going through a really rough period in my life. And I found like the works of Thich Nhat Hanh, and I was really into Buddhism, which I still think has some really beautiful philosophy. Just like somebody, I just got a call. I started getting into more like Eastern sort of practices, and really started getting deep into meditation. I just was like constantly seeking something to fill that void that I felt within my soul, right? Like I felt a void like in my soul And how do I say it? Like, I've tried to fill it up with so many different things. Drugs, alcohol, like my eating disorder, um, man, like so many, just so many different things I tried to fill this void with. And, I continued to practice yoga, and, I was like trying to seek out like connection with the universe through just tons of different means and methods. It's really hard for me to explain this, and it's really hard for me to talk about this, because it's like, the reason I'm making this video is because I'm kind of like transitioning into more of like a Christian mindset. And I'm really, and I'm just like going to be coming out with this real time, right? Like I'm still undergoing this weird transition, this journey, and the more I feel connected to Jesus, the better I feel. That's really the best way that I can put this transition that's happening for me. Last year, when I was going through a really rough time in my life, it's like Jesus was like the only thing that I had left. Because it was like the only thing I hadn't tried. I mean, really, like I had tried, sex, drugs, rock and roll. I had tried, thank you so much, Casey. Like I had tried so many different things. Meditation and yoga and, yeah, I tried all the vices too, sex, drugs, alcohol. Okay, cool, Queen Esther. But see, all this stuff, like when I look back, like, did it get me closer to a state of satiation? No, I started to feel really empty. Looking back, like I started to feel really empty. And basically when I was like going through this really dark spot in my life last year, I was like, all right, well, I'll try this Jesus thing. Because I was like, I'll try whatever. And I started to feel better. And now, I'm going through a transition. I am not perfect. I am not claiming to be like fully like transitioned. I am not claiming to know the gospel. I'm not claiming to be an expert, but I can tell you that the closer I get to Jesus, the better I'm feeling. And I'm talking regularly with a pastor at my church, because I'm like, I'm struggling with certain things, and he's helping like walk me through these things, because I still hold on to some very deep core beliefs of mine that I'm really struggling with believing are bad. Yeah, okay, so Casey, good question. How do you get closer to Jesus? I'll get there. Because I'm still, like, again, I'm making this video real time, so, like, this isn't necessarily, like, me saying that, like, I'm, like, fully transitioned, but, like, I'm still on this, like, exploratory path, and, it's working, is what I really want to bring up, is that it is really working, but I'm still kind of, like, in this phase, this, like, transition phase, like, in my deepest heart of hearts, I'm very LGBTQ friendly. And I don't have any problem with the LGBTQ community. And I don't think that they're going to hell. And I don't, like, at the deepest core of me, like, I just cannot, like, that is a belief that I have that's, like, unshakable within me. Like, that LGBTQ is just fine. Like, I don't see that as bad. So does that make me like a bad Christian? Some might say yeah, but others might say no. And I really have to sit with it in my heart. And I know that, like, right now and where I'm at, like, I might have conflicting ideas with certain people. Um, oh my gosh. Oh my God. These people. Um, anyway, um, it's it's been a transition, and I think that I'll address that comment and these comments of people saying like, did you refund your clients for the false teachings? That's not what it's about, guys. Like, as people evolve, our beliefs evolve, and as we learn new and better information, it's imperative and ethical to share that. Okay, it doesn't mean that like where I was in the past was wrong. It's where I was in the past. This is where I'm at now. And, you know, if you can't evolve as a health practitioner when better information comes along, that's where the problem is. Okay? It's these doctors and people who can't evolve and transition, and when better information comes their way, they don't evolve and transition with it. That's dangerous. Okay? Like, so maybe some of the things that I used to believe in, maybe I don't now because better new information came along. Does that mean that I was a bad health coach back then and I'm a better health coach now? It means I'm more informed. It means that I'm able to take information that I feel is better and then pass it along to my viewers and my clients. You know, if a practitioner can't evolve, and if there is no evolution or experimentation on themselves, right? Like I have a problem with practitioners that don't try these things on for themselves to see if they actually work. Okay, and that's where I'm very different as a health coach, and this is where I'm bringing in Jesus, okay? Because like I always talked about the importance of the spiritual piece. Like that's always been something that I've talked about on this channel, very openly. I've always been open about spirituality, but it's evolving for me to be a little bit closer to Jesus-centered. And that doesn't mean that all my viewers have to take that on. That doesn't mean that all my clients have to take that on. But I just ask, you know, like, have you tried this out? You know, and if they're completely like against it, then there's whatever. Like, that's okay. But if you've tried a lot of different things and you haven't tried Jesus, maybe give it a try. Okay, that's another thing like about me that I really like, is that I can go like, well, okay, I'm not feeling optimal. I'd like to feel optimal. Thank you, Casey. You know, then I'm gonna try something else. Okay, like, and shoot, I'll try it. I've always been of the try mentality. Like, oh, that sounds weird, but I'll try it. Does it make sense? Yeah, sure, I'll try it. You know, and as I transition from, you know, this new age kind of stuff to a more Jesus-centered lifestyle, I'm feeling better. And what I mean by that is like, do I still believe in meditation? Yes, but it needs to be prayer. And it needs to be God-centered and Jesus-centered and that kind of thing. Because I know for a fact that I was accessing demonic energy. Not by my... Okay, so James, I'll address that. So I accessed a lot of demonic energy. And I didn't, like, I kind of knew, right? Because I would access really positive energy, but I'd also access really demonic energy. And when I started to learn more and more about, like, oh, don't just clear your mind because you can open portals to negative entities, it started to make sense why I would access really dark energy and why I would access really light energy. And it's really important to be really careful how you open those portals and what you open them up to. Now, James, all right, not every church, church is not one size fits all. Ugh. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. So anyway, these are trolls, I'm sure of it. These comments that are coming are trolls. Anyway, so sorry guys, isn't this interesting that we're getting like demonically attacked as I'm talking about this? This is fascinating. I have never had this kind of thing happen. And now I'm talking about Jesus, and wow, interesting. Not every church is a one size fits all. So the town that I grew up in, like, made me frightened about Christians because they were frightening. It was a scary kind of Christianity. It was a scary kind of church. And I was like, I don't want to have anything to do with that kind of stuff. Like, it was frightening. And then I came here to San Antonio and I found an amazing church that I love. And I just felt so welcomed and I feel so at peace and I feel so positive there. So James, if you're feeling discriminated against in your church, I encourage you to try to find another one. Again, I really believe that there are like positive churches and there are negative churches. And I know for a fact that the one that I go to, I feel so positive and so held and so loved and so accepted there. It really changed my entire view of Christianity. So Ethan says that most Christians are like, or most people are modern day Pharisees. Let me make sure I read that comment correctly. So Ethan says that most religious people are modern day Pharisees. Yeah, and honestly, like, that's why I really love the church that I go to, is I don't feel judged. I feel loved there. There have been many a Sunday when I'm there just crying and like I feel accepted. And it's the first church I've been to that has felt like that. So if you don't feel love and loved at the church that you're at, I suggest that you find another church. Like, straight up. Now, to answer Casey's question, like how to get closer to Jesus. Well, okay, so again, I am very new at this. This is all very rudimentary, and I'm just trying to share with you guys a transition because there's a lot of videos out there of people like who have like fully transitioned and who are like, through the fire and all this stuff. And like, I'm still in the transition phase and I wanted to share my journey because maybe it's going to be relatable, to somebody out there. And so to address Casey's question, like how do I get closer to Jesus? Well, in the morning, the very first thing I do is I get into a state of prayer and I just give gratitude. Okay, I just give gratitude to Jesus and to God. And I do that for about, 10 to 15 minutes. It's my version of like a prayerful meditation. I'm not trying to clear my mind. I'm giving gratitude. I'm really focused. And then I get up and I read a devotional. It's called Jesus Calling. For anybody out there, Jesus Calling is an amazing devotional, and a devotional is like a daily kind of prayer book. And Jesus Calling is really it's like short, quick, very inspiring. And then there's also like biblical verses that you can read. Just me, good Lord. I never advised anybody against psych meds. I never would have done that. Anyway, whoa, Queen Esther, what did you say? Okay, so answered your question. I'll get there. I will get there. I'm answering Casey's first. So, and just me. If you guys weren't trolls, then how do you keep switching screen names? Just saying. Anyway, I read a devotional, and then one of the ways that I feel very close to Christ is by singing. So I turn on my music and I sing every day. Also, like when I'm out on my run at night, like I give thanks. Okay, it's all about gratitude. For me, that's how I'm personally finding a closeness to God and Jesus. Oh, cool, Queen Esther. I'm so happy. Yeah, like, so there's different ways. Like some people journal, right? And they feel close to God with journaling. And then others feel, called to, hit their knees and pray. And of course, like that's one of the top ways that is suggested. And I pray for sure. And another way that I get close to Jesus is I say, like in a situation, say where I'm feeling lost, whether it's I'm starting to get angry at somebody, like with these people making these claims on this chat right here, my natural inclination is to lash out, and I had to pause and say, what would Jesus do? Right? WWJD, like how would Jesus have done that? Like how can I be a better representation here? How can I rise above? And so Casey, like again, I'm not sure who these people are. I never would have suggested anybody off of psych meds. And obviously it's a troll because they keep changing screen names. But like I said, my natural inclination with that person was to lash out. And, it's like, okay, don't do that. Like I pause and I think about my actions so much more intently now. Because I can be a very passionate person. I can be very like, bah, but I'm like, okay, that's not always the best way. So Queen Esther, getting to your point, I believe that if you really get your mind quiet, thank you, Ethan, for backing me up. Thank you so much, Ethan. Thank you. I pause, okay, and I quiet my mind with gratitude. It's not emptying your mind, it's quieting that chitter chatter through things like gratitude, through things like reading a Bible passage, envisioning Christ, envisioning God, those kinds of things. And then you've got to get very quiet and listen for the guidance. Yeah, Jackie. So I have no idea who this just me person. Anyway, I never would. Anyway, so Jackie, somebody is on here claiming that I like advised their daughter off of psych meds and they tried to kill themselves. It's a troll. They've been changing screen names. Anyway, and my natural inclination is to lash out, but I'm staying very calm because I know that didn't happen. Yeah. So, anyway, I have a lawyer, right? Like, when I was like building my business, yeah. And when I was building my business, right, like there are so many different like laws that I had to learn. There's so many different little things that I had to learn, how I could say things and how I couldn't say things. And I had to take ethics courses. Thank you, Jackie. I know. Thank you so much. I wouldn't do that, like, ever. And as Ethan pointed out, oh, as Ethan pointed out, like I have said, try the natural methods, but if you need medication, go that way. Oh, Jackie, thank you so much. And same with you, Casey. Like, thank you so much, Casey. Like, you guys, I mean, that's partially why I stepped away from coaching for 8 months. Because I was like, I had gotten very upset with the alternative medicine world. One day I'll tell my entire story about stepping away. But at the basis of it is I was just sitting back every day going like, health can't be this complicated. Thank you, Jackie. Yes. I mean, you guys, this is why, like, let's be real. I had a packed schedule of clients and I let it all go. Okay, I let it all go. Because I was just, thank you, Jackie. Like, I let my entire business, if you guys, okay, I'll tell my whole story sometime. But this is all at the subject of the Jesus thing. Like, I stepped away from a thriving coaching career because I was upset with the alternative medicine world. And I was like, I can't partake in this because it is harming people. So I stopped. I was like, what's the real answer to healing? What's really going on here? It doesn't have to do with diet and supplements and all of this, because I have seen so many people and they have tried every diet under the sun. They have tried every supplement under the sun and they're still not getting better. Thank you, Against the Flow. And it was literally, and my anniversary of giving everything up is coming up. I do, Carlos. I have a background in chemistry and in physiology and anatomy and biology and okay, and like my anniversary of giving everything up was June 7th last year. So my anniversary is coming up of when I gave everything up. Because I literally couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I'm giving diet advice, I'm giving supplement advice, I'm giving all this kind of advice, and yet, like, some people are improving and other people aren't improving. And, people are coming to me and like, there is, the number one thing was I was like, health is not this complicated. It can't be. There is no way humans were put on this earth and have their health be this complicated. MTHFR this, folate this, histamine intolerance this, and parasites that, and mold this, and candida that. Like, I was like, there's got to be something more simple. And so I stopped coaching. So these claims that this person is making on my channel about like harming their daughter, not true, first of all. Second of all, like, I gave everything up, y'all. So Kevin says, be still and know that I am God. The greatest healing he has found came from this. Exactly. When it comes down to it, the fundamentals of breathing, good water, clean nutrition, mindset, heart set, your connection with God and Jesus, that's what matters. I had the cleanest diet. So Jackie, so I'll yeah, sorry, tangent. Oh my gosh, just me. Yep, totally. This is Topo Chico, by the way. Anyway, everybody, trolls are out there, and it's just interesting to me. Yeah, how do you get those against the flow? Anyway. So, I'm just making this video because I'm in a transition and I really do. Yeah, I'm trying to block them. But again, my natural inclination is to lash out, but it's not worth it. They're not worth my energy. So, Pax is really going crazy on this rawhide. But anyway, everybody, I love you so much. Okay, and like I did have a breakdown. Like I don't deny that. That's why I stepped away from coaching, because I was like, I can't do this. Like I can't partake in this insanity. So I stepped away. Just saying. Okay? So anyway, everybody, thank you for being here, and thank you for being so supportive. Casey and Jackie and Ethan and Kevin and Against the Flow, noob person. Oh, thank you, Casey. I love you too. So thank y'all so much. I love you guys. Oh, interesting. Against the Flow. Cool. So everybody, thank you for being here, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you out there. So thank you. And I hope that you have a beautiful evening, and thank you for being part of the Enliven family, and may Jesus bless you. Thank you for letting me share my my transition, and thank you for letting me be vulnerable and open. It's really scary to do this on a national stage. So God bless. And Queen Esther, I hope that was helpful. I hope that my answer helped you. I'm not an expert, but maybe that is a technique that you could try. So, okay, everybody. I love y'all so much. Okay, good. Good. God bless to everybody, and have a beautiful evening. And Wendy, thank you for your comment, and thank you, Carlos. So please sleep well, everyone. Good night.